all the chat. Delighted to say, as regularly on a Wednesday, is Claire Pearsall, former Conservative Government Advisor. Morning.
Morning.
Well, as always, quite a lot to talk about.
Just a bit.
I mean, you know, there we are. I mean, home and abroad. Let's start with the grooming gangs inquiry. You know, 3 of the survivors, the victims, I understand why they want to be called survivors, but have resigned. 2 have gone public, Fiona Goddard and Ellie Ann Reynolds, a herd woman known only as Elizabeth, because of anonymity rules, she doesn't have to give her full name, and she's quite right within her rights to do so. They basically said, look, that this isn't working. It's a cover-up. It's a toxic environment. They're trying to downplay this. They're trying to widen it out. So it's about all group gang, you know, a gang rape, as opposed to these particular modus operandi, which even, you know, the government's appointed, you know, Baroness Louise Casey to do that rapid review earlier in the year, which basically went, yeah, there needs to be a full public inquiry. Yeah. And even she made it really clear that, you know, predominantly this is carried out by Muslim Pakistani men, and there is a reason behind not just their choice of their victims, but crucially the fact that they were not challenged for 20 years pretty much was because of their ethnicity and their religion, and the urge of the police, the social care workers, the councils and everything to basically brush it under the carpet because it was all a bit awkward, what with community cohesion and being accused of being a racist or an Islamophobe. That is why that aspect is vital to include, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be front and centre of any inquiry. And I think Louise Casey made that abundantly clear. It was clear in her first review, which was lengthy. The quick down and dirty review that she did pointed it out in even more technicolor detail, but said these are the people you need to be looking at, this is what you need to focus on. So why the government feels in its wisdom that it can go and push that to one side, it is beyond me.
What do you make of the Home Office Minister Jess Phillips? Because to her credit, as a backbench Labour MP, I mean, let's face it, Jess Phillips is the Minister for Jess Phillips. She's the MP for Jess Phillips. It's all about Jess Phillips.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. But she has done some great work, you know, campaigning against violence against women and girls. And she really has. And it's been a really, really big part of her political career. And I think, you know, we should give credit to that. She's then put in the job where she's a safeguarding minister at the Home Office. So, you know, yeah, great. You know, this is your area of expertise. It's your area of passion, you know. Yeah. And she basically has completely and utterly lost the trust of the very people she claims to care the most about. But I do want to... Do you just care about the victims of other perpetrators? And when these white working class girls from all towns across the country, when they say, but I was targeted because I was white by men who were of Pakistani Muslim heritage, who targeted me for that very reason, and who were never arrested and charged, even when there was blatant evidence, absolutely blatant evidence that they were committing a gang rape against, you know, underage girls. And it was because of their ethnicity and because of their religion that they were not brought to justice. It's all a bit awkward because it doesn't tally with her PC woke views on Muslim. No, this is it. Muslims are victims, right? Rape victims are victims. But when you've got, I mean, it's almost like she can't compute. I find it really simple to understand that men of all colours and religions can rape, and women of all colours and religions or none can be victims of rape. Yeah. I don't find that complicated at all. But we know for a fact that the religion and the ethnicity of these perpetrators of these grooming gangs is relevant because it's the reason why they were allowed to continue.
That's right. I listened to the urgent question that was in the House of Commons yesterday, where Jess Phillips was there to defend the government's stance. She started off quite well. I have to say, it went downhill rapidly.
Do you think so? When she reads the statement, she always sounds like, I'm a little bit bored and I've got somewhere better to be and I'm Jess Phillips and I'm morally superior to you?
She didn't come across like that to begin with.
I heard a different statement.
To begin with, it sounded pretty normal. Pretty good statement, fine. She didn't write it, that was obvious. And then as soon as the questioning came, she got defensive.
Narky.
Sloppy. Yeah, narky. She looked like she would rather be anywhere else. And it did at one point say, I could be speaking to some victims right now, but I'm here with you. And it's like, but this is your job, love. This is your job, and this is really important.
But for me, her whole tone was, how dare you question me?
Yeah. The minute she stepped off script, she then became really narky, really, I would prefer to be anybody anywhere else and don't question
And
me.
it's perfectly fair, criticise the Tories. You were in power. You didn't do a proper inquiry in this either.
Precisely.
You knew all
and
about
we should
it.
have done. We absolutely should have done. And that's on us. But now the Labour
You were in the
government...
Home Office. Was this ever raised when you were there?
Not when I was there. Not when I was there. I dealt
it's all
with...
been covered up.
Yeah, and I dealt with other immigration cases, and because these weren't strictly immigration cases...
It wasn't your field.
It wasn't in my view. So, sadly, otherwise I think probably would have pushed for it then.
What do you make of... I mean, we've got a potential chair who has pulled out as well. One of the people being looked at, a senior social worker, Annie Hudson. She's been shortlisted to chair the three-year inquiry. I mean, these things always take longer. Another shortlisted name is Jim Gamble, who's a former senior police officer. Now, again, I completely understand why the victims are saying, hold on a minute, you know, even when we had juries deciding in the case of our perpetrators who were convicted, the judge didn't allow anyone on the jury who was a social worker or a teacher or a police officer or had links to them because those are the very organisations that perpetrated the cover-up, so they can't be trusted. So I can understand you say, well, I don't want a senior social worker. I don't want a senior former police officer. Jim Gamble, we were discussing on the show yesterday, he's been a magnificent campaigner about child sex abuse, running CEOPS, although he's ex-cop. I would trust him. I would 100% trust that man. But I can understand why the victims wouldn't.
Yeah. And same here. Why would you believe that somebody involved in police...
Any organisation.
Any organisation that is being looked at, why would you trust them to be able to go and basically mark their own homework, which is how people are looking at it. But then the question comes, who would you trust to lead up an inquiry?
A senior judge, it's normally a senior judge. What you want is a senior judge, because they've got, you know, you've already got your peerage or your OBE or whatever it is you want. So you've got not looking after anything else, you know, and you need someone who's got a really strong track record of, you know, sending these men to jail as opposed to going, oh, well, it might be a cultural difference, because we've seen enough of those judges. It just seems to me that's untenable. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. 0344 499 1000. Who could run this inquiry? What does it tell you that 4 months in they haven't got a chair yet? What does it tell you that 3 sex abuse victims, we're told the 4th as well, but they've not gone public yet, have now resigned? We spoke to Maggie Oliver yesterday, who's the whistleblower of Rochdale, just a wonderful woman who's, you know, put money on the line, she put a career, a job, a reputation on the line for these young women, and you know, she says there's more to come. There's way more to come. There is clearly an attempt to cover up. This is Labour basically trying, like, well, God, we've been forced to do this sodding inquiry. We know it's going to make a hell of a lot of problems for us ahead of the next election, with loads of Labour councillors being involved in all of this. We're in a heap load of trouble, and well, let's just try and make it go away. Well, good luck with that. I mean, I just don't think, good luck with that. It's not going to work, is it? But your
really
thoughts,
isn't.
give us a call, 0344 499 1000. Another thing that won't go away is sodding Prince Andrew. He won't go away, the stories won't go away, taking away his HRH and then his Duke of York title and all of that utter, abject nonsense that I've got no time for anyway, as you all well know, as a regular audience. Now they want to take away the Prince title. Again, I don't care. He was the son of the Queen. If you believe in, you either believe in titles or you don't. I don't believe in any titles, right? I don't even believe in the sirs and lords. I'll play along because people seem to care about it when you speak to them as guests, but they all know personally that I don't approve of these things. No one's above me, no one's below me, end of. But, you know, if you're going to believe in them, well, you can't take it away. If you believe in a hereditary monarchy, he's a prince and he stays a prince no matter what he's allowed to put on his headed notepaper. I don't really care what he calls himself. I do care when he was representing our country as an international trade envoy, and when he does a lot of things like his pitch at the palace, and there seems to be some financial benefit for him coming out of these things. I do care that he was put on a security list because he had far too many meetings with a man known to be a Chinese spy. And I do care when he's got a grace and favour, huge big house, 30 bedrooms or something?
It's enormous.
How many friends have you got coming to stay? I mean, do you want that many people to come and stay at your home? It's big grace and favour mansion, Royal Lodge. It's a mansion, okay? He's not only is he not paying any rent on it, he paid for the upkeep, £1 million lease initially, but he's got it until, the whole family's got it until 2078. I mean, good luck surviving that long. But paying a peppercorn rent, so zero rent. Apparently he pays his water rates only when he feels like it, according to the Sun today. That's funny. I thought I had to pay my utilities. Does he pay his gas bill? Does he pay his electricity bill? I mean, I would like to know, because is it all optional? And this is the thing, and Margaret Hodge, who's the former chair of the public accounts
Public
committee,
Accounts, yeah.
and she's made some really good points today about, at the end of the day, they can't be both private and funded publicly. It's like with Prince Harry, isn't it? It's like you can't be a royal and also then go make money off Netflix. That's not how it works. So he's a public figure. He's been funded basically by his mum, late Queen. Basically indulged her favourite son, and he's got away with stuff for years, and probably she wasn't told the full story on things. At least I hope she wasn't, because otherwise, frankly, really unacceptable, very poor judgment on her part, and I would be surprised by that, because she is a woman who exercised superb judgment as a monarch in terms of, we never knew her political views, we never, she did her job, right. If you're going to have a monarchy, that's as good as it gets, folks, But it's untenable for these people to, they don't pay income tax, don't pay inheritance tax. Well, we have all this fuss about inheritance tax. Well, they don't pay any of the same taxes we pay.
They understand nothing about life. Absolutely nothing. And what I would like to see is him taken out of Royal Lodge. Go find yourself a 2-bedroom flat to rent. Learn how
Fergie's
to...
in one, he's in the other.
Exactly, but learn how to pay council tax, learn how to go shopping. Do all of those things, because he has not got a clue. But where his money comes from... It's not his fault
he was born into that world.
No, it's not, but he is now not in that world through his own actions. Yep. So why should he be allowed to not
Never been even charged with a crime, let alone convicted of one.
No, and it's amazing, isn't it? He managed to get his mother to pay off a large sum of money to somebody for something he didn't do. Or
somebody he never even met. I mean, that's the thing. Look, everyone knows what they think about Prince Andrew. It's very, very, very clear. But seriously, there's a lot of questions about where does his money come from.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to understand.
Never met a dodgy billionaire he doesn't like. I mean, again, this is my thing. Where is that money coming from? He got money from his mum. Yep. He got money from working as a trade envoy, and lots of expense. Where is the rest of the money coming from? And he paid back $7 million for works. I mean, that's how big the house is. Imagine if refurbing your home. I think we made a lot less than that for our conservatory. And I've got to be honest with you, I had a new kitchen put in. I don't think it cost $7 million. So this is a big house. Where's he got that $7 million from? What about that? Didn't they have a £10 million ski lodge in Switzerland? Yeah. Well, where'd you get the money for that? There's no trail of. And then he had that, South Fork Ranch, the big house he owned with Fergie. And some foreign billionaire bought it like a sort of double the market cost of homes in that area. I'm so sorry, but I don't think this story goes away until we see his finances. We're not going to see his finances, but things are going to come out of the woodwork.
And so it should. And so it should, because if taxpayers' money is flowing one way, which is into the royal family, and we all put money into that, then I think we do have an absolute right to know where the rest of that money is coming from. If he's being bolstered up by our cash, we need to know. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to pay a single penny. No. People, we've got an established, constitutional monarchy. That is the democratic preference of people in this country. That's what we pay for. That's, that's fine. I've got no issue with that. But yeah, if he's not on the payroll. And he was a hero in the Falklands War. But what have you been doing since that you got that money? I'm just saying that is a man who must have bought a lot of Bitcoin. You think? I mean, even a few good investments on on the stock market won't have paid. Did he buy shares in Apple in whatever it was the day after it was launched, or did he buy a whole load of Bitcoin 15 years ago? Because there's no other explanation for his finances. I'm just saying. Love to hear your thoughts. 0344 499 1000. Your thoughts on Prince Andrew. Let's also talk about the latest budget revelation. I mean, you never know if they're just flying a kite or if they're actually doing it. But this is around the time, as you'll know, having worked in government, that the Chancellor, although we only hear the budget on November the 26th, this is around the time when it's near to the point it's going to have to be sent to the Office for Budget Responsibility, the independent OBR. Where they basically say whether the numbers add up or not. Yes. But we're approaching that time, so they've got to download it. Well, the Times claims that Rachel Reeves is going to launch a £2 billion tax rate on limited liability partnerships. Now, what are those? Well, they are
basically a partnership. Apparently more than 190,000 workers do use this. They're used by lawyers, by family doctors, by accountants, and basically there's a tax benefit over an ordinary employment because you're not subjected to employers' national insurance because you're treated as self-employed. Reeves reckons this is unfair. Again, this is the same as the IR35 issue for self-employed people, which is millions, I think about 3.5 million self-employed people. When people who are on PAYE say this to me, and I spent years as someone who was freelance with the private limited company, a personal service company, what it's called. Yeah. And they say, oh, it's not fair. I have to pay national insurance. Like, yeah, and do you enjoy your paid sick leave, your paid holiday, your pension contributions, and all of the other rights that you have as a member of staff? Yeah. Well done for you, because IR35, outside IR35, you don't get that. And this thing, you don't get, these people don't get paid holiday. Yeah. National insurance, if you work it out from your employer, basically pays for your paid holiday.
Yes.
That's basically covers that percentage.
People don't realise. And people don't realise, and the taxation system in this country is incredibly complicated. Yeah. But I think that when you start looking at these schemes, Rachel Reeves appears to just be looking at which professions can I hit next.
Are we going to be very sympathetic to lawyers, accountants and even GPs now?
Well, I think
we know they're paid highly. They're not people, most of the times you're dealing with these people when you don't want to be, well, you don't want to go to the doctor, you don't want to see a lawyer, you don't want to see your accountant, do you?
No, right up until the moment that you do need one, and you want them to be good. Yeah. And so you think if you start to scare those away, are we going to run out of lawyers and GPs?
The thing is, the £2 billion it's going to raise, realistically,
but that's like a drop in the ocean, though, isn't it,
compared to what we need. Absolutely. Just finally, let's talk about where we are internationally, because we did have this planned meeting between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. This suddenly came about in Hungary just after Donald Trump talked about giving long-range missiles to Zelensky in Ukraine. Suddenly he's got taken it off the table. Now Putin's a bit too busy, doesn't want to attend this meeting, and a lot of it is down to the fact that, well, basically he's not feeling under threat. And it turns out he doesn't want to have the meeting. There's no point in having the meeting because he's not willing to accept the basic terms, which would be a freezing of the front line in Ukraine as it is. He wants to have more of Donbass than he's even been able to conquer so far. I mean, Donald Trump is being treated like a fool by this guy. I don't know why. I don't know why he understands that Hamas are a threat and Iran is a threat. China is a threat. But no, Vladimir Putin, not an issue.
And you do wonder, the summit they had in Anchorage, Alaska, what did they actually discuss? Because seemingly there are two different sides to this. So Donald Trump believes that he had an agreement with Vladimir Putin, that it was going to be frozen on those boundaries and nothing more. And then Putin's gone, well, doing that whole toddler thing, going, but what about this? Yeah. And I want this bit, and this bit, and this bit. And he's going to keep doing it. And is it a surprise to us? No, not in the slightest. It appears to be to Donald Trump.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, he's just being played by this guy. But every phone call he gets with Vladimir Putin, we move backwards on this issue. I mean, what do you reckon of British troops being deployed to Israel to monitor the Gaza ceasefire after a request from the US? We're talking about a handful of troops, but
anything I think that we can do to assist Israel is good.
But not entering the war zone.
Not entering the war zone.
Because it is still a war zone.
It is still a war zone. This is a very fragile time, and I think if we can just show support and show a little bit of solidarity, then that's a good thing. I think if we step over any more than that,
different territory.
It is different territory, and it all kicks off again.
Okay, 10:24.